אנחנו נעלה כרגע אורח מחו"ל, ג'וליאן גורייר, Director of European Commission Policy and Programming for Horizon Europe. אני מניחה שלכולנו תהיה הרצאה מעניינת, ונלמד קצת מה קורה מחוץ לישראל, חשוב מאוד. בהצלחה.
If you can hear me, I guess I can start.
Yeah. Start.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, indeed, I'm joining from Brussels. It's a pity that I cannot be physically with you today. You will understand why. In Israel, which is a country that I like very, very much and which is extremely beautiful. I'm also very impressed, I must say, by Israel's performance as you said it in previous interventions, a startup nation, a scale-up nation. Until March, I was heading the European agency that is in charge of implementing the European Innovation Council's pilot, which is an accelerator funding startups that want to scale up and develop breakthrough innovation projects. And I must say that I was very impressed to see that 10% of the applicants in our latest cutoff, 10% compared to all applicants from all over Europe and associated countries were actually coming from Israel. And they were also faring very well in the selection process because we have as many startups in that cutoff being supported and funded from Israel as we have from Germany, which has quite a different size and economy. So congratulations for being so much directed and guided towards research, innovation, both in the private and the public sector. You're an inspiration for many other countries across Europe and the world, and your association will certainly further reinforce that leading position. But let me talk a little bit perhaps on research and innovation plans in Europe. As you know, we are moving to a new budget cycle, a 7-year cycle in the European Union, with Horizon Europe replacing Horizon 2020 as from next year. We are in the midst of a crisis. As you know, COVID-19 has added to the unprecedented challenges that affect our planet, our societies, our economies. And that's why we are working very much on a recovery fund and a recovery plan for the continent. Solutions for us to the crisis imply and require increased investment, innovation-conducive regulations, and effective policy reforms. So for all that, we need to invest more than ever in research and innovation. Of course, the crisis has affected different sectors differently. Companies operating in the digital sector have shown that they were overall less affected because of the digital technologies, the cloud, the digital products and services that were proving an important tool during the crisis. But you have other sectors, manufacturing, that were relying on extensive international supply chains, such as the automotive industry, and that have suffered tremendously from the current crisis. Obviously, we cannot assemble products remotely. We have seen also the creative and cultural sectors being considerably hit by the crisis. These sectors represent a sizable share of our GDP in Europe, 4%, 8 million jobs. So that's quite a big impact. What we are doing in our response initiative launched by our president, Ursula von der Leyen, is to trigger the deployment and the development of course, vaccination, treatment, and diagnostics to address the sanitary crisis. We have pledged already a lot of money for that. We have also registered pledges from international countries and donors up to 10 billion euros, so that those vaccines and medicines should be available internationally and globally. What we have done also is to redirect projects in Horizon towards COVID-related challenges with close to 700 projects and 3 billion investments. We have also, both in the European Research Council and in the European Innovation Council I was mentioning on startups, identified projects and funded specifically projects that were addressing the COVID sanitary crisis. But of course, we are going much beyond that in research and innovation and beyond. If I look at research and innovation, you know probably that the European Summit in July has agreed to borrow money on the markets at European level in order to increase funding for a number of programs. Horizon Research and Innovation is one of them. We have a total of 80 billion euros in constant 2018 prices. So it's close to 100 billion euro in current prices that will be directed in the next 7 years towards research and innovation in Europe. This will go principally towards two main objectives: the green transition and the digital transition. We have pledged that 35% of the budgets in research and innovation would go to green-related technologies and sectors, and we will also increase considerably our funding of digital research and innovation. What we are busy with right now is to translate that money and that pledge and political priority into concrete programs and actions. So we've been working in the past few months on developing a strategic plan for Horizon Europe for the first half of the programming period, the 4 years between 21 and 24. This strategic plan should be adopted by the Commission before the end of the year. It sets a very strong prioritization towards the twin transition I was evoking, green and digital, but also towards resilience, both of our people, health, and economies. This will be translated into a work program, and you know that as associated country, and I very much hope that Israel will remain an associated country to Horizon Europe, you will be involved in the definition of this work program. On the future steps, very concretely and very soon, we have launched a web survey a few days ago that is open until the 18th of September. And I can make available the link to the survey, where you can comment on how to translate the strategic plan into operational work programs and actions in research and innovation. And we will have a big event virtually from the 22nd to the 24th of September, so 3 days in September, Research and Innovation Days, where we will have co-design sessions precisely on the operations for Horizon Europe. So you're very much welcome to participate in the Horizon, in the Research and Innovation Days at the end of the month. Perhaps I should say a few words on two defining features of our research and innovation funding, which are missions and partnerships. Partnerships are not new, they exist today, but we've tried to streamline, rationalize the landscape. Missions is a new feature where we have identified in Horizon Europe 5 areas where we would have missions to give direction to our research and innovation efforts. These missions would be in the fields of climate adaptation, smart cities, soils, healthy soils, cancer, for instance. and they would give a clear objective and a clearly impact-oriented strategy for our program. These missions will represent quite an important budget inside the program, and we have 5 mission boards with eminent experts from all over Europe who have been making proposals that will be presented for each of these 5 missions at the research and innovation days. The missions were also presented across Europe through virtual events during the summer, but we will continue to have engagements with citizens and stakeholders, as it is really an endeavor to put their needs and their priorities at the center of our programmation. On the partnerships, we have had a number of partnerships so far in Horizon 2020 that we're putting together industry, citizens, administrations, research centers, public and private, to co-create innovative, systemic approaches in certain areas. We have published on our website in June all the partners' proposals for new partnerships, and we are now waiting for commitments financially from these partners, including from the member states, in order to select those that will be included in our strategic plan for the fiber sector. I hope you can still hear me well. Because I get some echo and feedback since a minute ago. Okay, that's better now. I will close on some budgetary aspects. We've had a long history in research and innovation programs on the side of the European Union of openness to the world, and association agreements being signed as from 1995 with a number of partners. Israel has been associated to all framework programs for research and innovation since 96. So that's the last 4 framework programs, the last one being Horizon 2020. And Horizon has been a big beneficiary from this program. I was mentioning at the beginning of my speech the very impressive performance of your startups, your SMEs in our European Innovation Council's pilot. So I very much hope that our very fruitful cooperation will continue in the years to come. And I will stop here for my presentation. Thank you.